Let's take a look at problem 25A. We're doing the full worksheet this time, and we add to it another quirk, and that quirk is, and it's largely a US GAAP quirk, although we'll deal with it under IFRS and Canadian ASPE as well, the expected return on our assets doesn't match the actual return on our assets, as we'll soon see. And so that creates some accounting challenges for us also. So there's sort of a double challenge baked into this one, which is we're doing the full table and our returns don't match up. Actually, let me just discuss that real briefly, because it is a factor under IFRS as well. When your actual returns don't match the planned returns, well, what is that? That's an unexpected return. And standard setters have said, we don't want our profits swinging wildly because the stock market had a good year or a bad year. We don't want that showing up in net income. We'd rather put that in OCI. So those unexpectedly high or low returns will land their way into OCI. US GAAP and IFRS treat it differently. So we're going to solve this thing top to bottom in US GAAP. Then I'll show you the tweak to get it to IFRS, and then one further tweak for us Canadian GAAP ASPE people, and you'll go last. Let's get into the problem. Quesnel Plywood sponsors a defined benefit pension plan for its mill employees. The following information relates to the plan for the year. And there's all of our information. And of course, we're going to be slotting it in here. And if you follow it, do it my way, I always do the obligation and assets first and kind of do the journal entry side of this table last. So let's start with our opening balance. We're given an opening balance of our obligation, $20 million. By the way, our assets, 18 mil. We're underfunded by $2 million. Our obligation, $20 million credit balance, of course. Our asset, an $18 million debit balance, of course, meaning our net is a credit, right? We net this out to a $2 million credit, and that is, if you got a credit in your net pension asset liability account, it's, of course, a liability. Okay, let's see how this obligation or plan assets change. And the first line there, so we've dealt with those two. The next line is our discount rate. Well, we know our discount rate grows our obligation. We have a $20 million obligation growing by 5% a year. That's $1 million in interest cost, and that makes our obligation get bigger. The expected return on plan assets, this is a US GAAP only thing, and it's used in the journal entries. It's part of pension expense, and it's used here, but we'll deal with that in just a moment. It's not used anywhere on this side of the table, so we'll just leave that to the side, and we'll come back to it later. We can calculate the number. It's 18 million times 6%, right? That's our return on plan assets, and it's 1080, which is our expected return on plan assets. Okay, so that's going to come in handy later, but we don't need it now. And that's going to come in handy for US GAAP only later. Canadian and IFRS people won't need that number at all. Current service cost, 1.3 mil. Well, everybody needs that number, and everybody knows it goes here, and it grows our obligation by 1.3 mil. Actual return on assets, yes, our plan assets did grow by 600K. Debit, make them grow. Contributions remitted to the trustee, 1.4 million. Okay, well, that also makes our plan assets grow, sending money to the trustee. Benefits paid, that makes both our assets and our obligations shrink. Was it 1.1? Yeah, 1.1 mil. If I pay the benefit, it comes out of the asset and it pays down the liability. Okay, I think that's everything. So let's add these up and get our ending balance in the obligation and in the plan assets for the year. We'll do the assets first. 18 million minus 1.1 million plus 600,000 plus 1.4 million. And we land at 18.9 million debit. Let's do the obligations. 20 million credit plus 1.3 million credit plus 1 million credit minus 1.1 million. That's the debit, the loan debit here. And I land at $21.2 million credit. Okay, so you can see my obligation still bigger than my assets, and it looks like it's more bigger. Is that the right word? The liability's grown here. 21.2 million minus 18.9 million. It is more bigger. I don't think that's a correct way to say that, but it is. $2.3 million credit. It started the year at a $2 million credit. So you can see it's grown by $300,000. And we're going to prove it now on the journal entry side. And we need to do the journal entry side because we need to do journal entries. So let's go through each of these items and see how this would affect our debits and credits, if at all. Current service costs, $1.3 million credit. That's part of our pension expense. It's flat out part of our pension expense. So we're going to debit pension expense for that amount. It's sort of like a balancing thing, right? Debits got to balance with credits. You can see this line, the debits balance the credits. And we'll continue to do that throughout. Interest cost, well, guess what? That's a debit to our pension expense, $1 million. Benefits paid, the debits already match the credits. There's nothing to do over here to balance it. Debits do match credits. I'll come back to actual return on assets. That's the one that is different between IFRS, Canadian ASPE, and US GAAP. We'll do it the US GAAP way first, but let's do contributions. That's the same everywhere. When you contribute, it's a debit to plan assets. It's a credit to your cash. You contributed out of your own company cash, so 1.4 million credit. This is the last line left, and this is the one that's, again, a little bit differential between our methods. We'll do it the US GAAP way. And the US GAAP way says, okay, my expected return on plan assets was $1,080,000, 1080. It's at 6%. That's the number we have reduced our expense. It's based on our expectation. So 1080 credit goes here. It's our return on our plan assets. Now, our plan assets only grew by 600. It grew by way less than we expected. The stock market was bad this year. Whatever we invested in did not meet expectations. There might have been some economic downturn or some catastrophe causing our investments not to do so well. So in these situations, because we know if we're investing, the stock market's swingy, or whatever we're investing in is swingy, and we want to show steadier returns related to our pension in our own income statement. We put the difference, the unexpected, in this case bad returns, gets charged off to OCI. Now we'll talk about what we do with that in future questions, but for now just know, okay, we're parking it in OCI. This difference of, we expect it to be 1080, it was actually 600. We're off by 480 grand. And it's a debit, which is bad for our OCI. This is an unexpected return that we were short. We short felled by 480 grand. Okay, that's it. Now we just need to total up each of these rows, and it's going to feed our journal entry. So 1.3 million plus $1 million plus 1 million minus the 1080 credit means our pension expense is a debit of 1220. Our OCI is a debit of 480. Our cash is a credit of 1.4 million. And so what do we do here? Well, 1220, it's just debits got equal credits. The balance goes to pension asset liability. In this case, it was a pension liability. 1220 debit plus 480 debit is $1.7 million in debits minus 1.4 million in credits means we're left with 300K in credits here. And that, look at that, it adds both ways, right? It works across, but it also works down. 2 million in credit. We're going to credit this thing 300 grand and we end at 2.3 million. So it does work both ways. That's why this is sort of an elegant solution. And that just feeds our entry. So our entry is just debit and credit these accounts in the order, well, in whatever order we wish, really. It's December 31st, 2031. We're going to debit pension expense. 1220000. We're going to debit OCI. And this is on the asset loss or unexpected asset loss, right? We lost more. We didn't make as much as we thought, I guess, on our plan assets. 480. We're going to credit cash, 1.4 mil. And we're going to credit a net pension liability, and the amount there is going to be 300 grand. Okay, at that point, we're done this from a US GAAP perspective. So US GAAP folks, you can hit the thumb, say goodbye. IFRSers, Canadian GAPers, stay tuned. Really, we're just going to change this line, this actuarial or actual rather, return on assets, actuarial, no, actual. The word actuarial comes up a lot this chapter, but not there. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and we're going to work from here because it's just one little tweak. And the tweak is that one line that I'd mentioned. So I'm going to erase that part of the line. I'll change ink to green ink, and you can see the only difference is going to be IFRS. When they calculate the expected return on assets, you can't use some different amount. Your expected return on assets is based on the discount rate. So you go, okay, it's 18 million times 5%. It's 900K. That's our expected return on assets for IFRS. I'll just say expected return. We plug our expected return in here, just as we did under US GAAP. And then we go, oh, it doesn't work. It's off by 300 grand. The US GAAP one was off by more. So we go, okay, I got to fix this. It's going to take a $300,000 debit to OCI. And that's it. You plug that in. Obviously, this total is going to be a little different. 1.3 plus 1 is 2.3 minus 900,000 is 1.4. And hopefully this all adds. Yeah, I can see it actually does add. 1.4 debit. And this is a $300,000 debit. So our journal entry for IFRS, same entry, debit pension expense. 1.4 mil. Debit OCI, 300K. I forget, I think they call this a remeasurement loss. Credit cash, 1.4 mil. And credit net pension liability, for 300K. Okay, last one we'll do. And so IFRS folks, you can say goodbye. Canadian ASPE, I would think most professors will have you do this the IFRS way. I think it's pretty unusual for somebody to have a defined benefit pension plan and use ASPE. Those things just seem like an unusual series of events would land you there. But if you're doing it under ASPE, it's pretty easy. Just nothing goes to OCI. So you do it the exact same way you did under IFRS, but you just move this number back into the OCI column. So I'll cross that out. It's not 1.2. It's 600,000. Credit goes there. So this number becomes 0. This number, if I add it up, 1.3 plus a million, it's 2.3 minus 600,000. It's 1.7 mil. That's it, right? Everything else is the same. So our pension expense, 1.7 mil. Nothing goes to OCI. And the thing balances, and there you go. We've done it under ASPE. We've done it 3 ways. If you made it all the way to the end, one thing left to do. Hit the thumb. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.